Hello, and welcome to today's show of Savvy Seniors. I'm Mary Dilley.
And I'm Sarah Fury.
And today we have Dave Oswald, and he is a forensic investigator. And I think he needs to tell us what that is exactly.
We investigate fraud on a daily basis. So when people think other people's money is their money, we start having a look to see how they manage to take it.
So my kids do that?
Yeah.
I'm not sure how that works. Okay, we can figure that out today. All right.
We'll figure that out. And I know, sort of in our talking, we've broken this down into different themes of fraud. And so the first theme that we're going to look at is romance and friendship. And I know one of the first questions that I had, is there a specific age group that these fraudsters would target?
The age group which they target is kind of around about the 50-year-old plus age group. So it's generally somebody who's divorced or has lost their spouse and is living a life on their own. And what they're doing is they feel that they're not worthy of loving again or whatever it happens to be. And suddenly you've got some guy on the phone phoning up and saying, "Hi, you're beautiful. Can I talk to you?" And through that, what they're doing is they start this communication running with the person. When they've started the communication, they'll go on with this for 3 months, maybe 6 months, phoning the person once, twice a day, talking to them for an hour at a time. And then all of a sudden they'll turn around and they'll say, "Hey, can you give me some money?" And it's at that point, and there'll be a specific reason behind it. And I'll just give you a little example of one of the ones that we've dealt with. We had a lady out of Etobicoke who was defrauded by a fraudster. She'd been talking to this guy who was in Vancouver, in inverted commas, because we think he was actually in Toronto. And he had turned around and he'd been on the phone with her for around about 6 months. They'd developed a real close relationship, and he kept on telling her he loved her. And they were going to meet.
Wow. Did they meet over like the computer or?
Yeah. Everything at this stage is on computer or over phone. She actually never got to see this guy in person. There was always a reason, my camera's broken, whatever it happened to be. But they talked often, once a day, twice a day, hour, 2 hours at a time. So there's a lot invested in this. He then went on a trip to South Africa.
And let me guess, he needed money to come home.
No, better still, he got robbed on the way from the airport to the hotel room.
Yeah, that is better.
So by doing that, what had happened is that he then sent a press article to her saying tourist hijacked from Tambo, which is the international airport there, to the hotel. So now she's sitting there going, "Wow, this is real." And he says, "Look, they took everything off me, darling. They took my bags, they took my wallet. I'm phoning from another phone because I have nothing. Could you send me $11,000? I'll pay you back when I get back to Canada."
Come on.
So
Seriously?
she did.
Oh, that's so sad.
But that was because she had this convincer that this tourist had been hijacked. So she wasn't stupid or anything like that. She'd been coached into this situation.
Can we assume that the person who conned her that's his full-time job, that he's on the phone all day? So he calls Ellen at 9 o'clock, he calls Cynthia at 10 o'clock. Is that, I've heard about that. Is that a possibility?
It's not only a possibility, it's a reality. So these people aren't, and you might be talking to John today, you might be talking to David tomorrow, you might be talking to Harry the next day. You're not necessarily talking to the same person the whole time. It's a business that they're running.
Wow.
With her, they managed to take, over a period of 9 months, $480,000 US.
No. Wow. And can you protect her? Can you help her at all?
Yeah, or is there any recourse to get these funds back?
There's very little that can be done to help her. Unfortunately, she'd put the money into Bitcoin, transferred the money to offshore bank accounts. And as soon as you have that, you've got a layer of complexity in the investigation. And by this stage, she's bankrupt. So a firm like ours, which is a private investigation firm, just hasn't got the bandwidth to help her out on a pro bono basis.
Would it also be with this age group that you're talking about that I'm thinking maybe her husband she's divorced or her husband has passed away and she doesn't have a close relationship with someone to tell? Because boy, if any of my friends ever started this, I would immediately say, you're being conned.
Yes, but you turn around and you say to one of your friends that you're being conned. Oh, you're just jealous, Mary. This guy's paying me all this attention. He's a nice guy. How can you possibly tell me that he's conning me? Yeah. You might be able to see it, but she's in love.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's a really difficult thing to get over. I mean,
and then even then she might push her friends away.
Right.
If you're not happy for me,
then
go away.
See you later.
Yeah.
Remember that he will also try and isolate her from her friends.
Yes.
Oh, don't talk to that Mary. She's just bad news. She just doesn't want us to be happy.
On me? No. That's really something. That is so sad.
And when you look at the statistics for it, though, are you finding that it's primarily women that are getting conned, or is it equally between men and women?
Females tend to get conned more than males because they've probably got a more nurturing type of, they're more nurturing.
We want to be in love.
However, males also get conned. Again, a very quick story. We had a guy who got a 35-year-old secretary in. He was 60 years old at the time.
Well, he should have known that wasn't right from the beginning.
Well, one of them seduced the other one, and we're not going to guess which way.
Okay.
But they ended up in bed together. He ended up getting a divorce from his wife of 30 years and moving in with the 35-year-old. They lived together for 6 months. And she, one night, after probably some great sex, turned around and said, why don't we make an investment in this firm?
Oh, no.
He went and invested $10 million.
Wow.
Oh, my gosh.
Why didn't I meet him?
In a company, and actually it was also in South Africa. It seems to come up a lot. But it was also there. And he lost that $10 million.
Wow.
Oh, my gosh.
When he came back from a trip, they'd actually cleaned the entire house. So they'd washed every cup, plate. They'd cleaned up his social media accounts because she had access to all of them. So there were no pictures of her anywhere. She did her best to destroy every trace of evidence of her.